Zombie Kage.
I don't know. I slept through the whole thing. Hello.
It's the reminder for this event.
You know, when one is a little tired, a little run down, one is trying to enjoy a quiet breakfast, and a large man with a German accent comes stalking and says, "What are you doing here?" What's this panel again? What are we talking about?
Convention wipeouts.
What would you mean like right now?
Right.
Oh, Lord of mercy. Oh, yeah, oh. Aha, okay, those. All right, I know what you're talking about now. Okay. Convention way. Let's start with Anthrocon this year, because that is still very much in my memory. In fact, sometimes it feels like I'm still there. When I close my eyes, I'm back in the convention center in Pittsburgh.
Sounds rather traumatic.
It is. A convention chairman, and this is not unique to me, it happens to Cheetah, it happened to Robert King. All of the chairmen of the large conventions will suffer a condition that is very similar to post-traumatic stress disorder, which is suffered by soldiers in combat. They used to call it battle fatigue. We will sit up in the middle of the night and believe that we're still at the convention and that things are happening and wipeouts are crashing down and someone stole all the charity money and oh, the dealer's room is not set up and all the dealers are angry and then sometimes we like jump out of windows. Someone once asked me, "How do you sleep at Anthrocon?" I sleep like a baby. I wake up screaming every 2 hours. Our guest of honor. Our guest, is that coffee?
That is coffee.
Our guest of honor this year, Mr. Jim Cummings, a voice actor. And someone explained to me that over in Europe, often they don't give a damn about our voice actors because you have different ones over here.
Yeah.
But Jim Cummings is...
Awesome.
Yes, he is. He is pretty much the Mel Blanc of the 21st century. He, in the English-speaking world, does all of the voices these days. He was all the way back into the 1990s. He, in fact, voiced a character on SWAT Catch, which was very dear to me. He was going to be our guest of honor. Now, Anthrocon treats its guests very, very well. We like to make them feel like royalty. And get first-class airline tickets. A professional limousine will pick them up at the airport and bring them to the hotel, and they have a hotel room for which this would be the bathroom, you see.
I never drink coffee, so I have no idea what it is.
It's a kind of infusion of a bean in water, but that's not
That was that expression, that's cafe creme or whatever it is.
it's all going in my face. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I keep looking and see what's on his thing. He had one of these, he had that sideways French flag, whatever that one is. Where was it? Oh yes, Mr. Cummings. The other guest of honor is He was one of the voice actors for the My Little Pony cartoon. It was very popular out there. And he came in with no trouble. That was Lee Tokar, and he had a grant. Mr. Cummings was coming in on an airplane flight that landed shortly after midnight. It is my duty as the chairman to greet the guest at the door, no matter what time it is. So the limousine driver always will have an order from me that when you are 10 minutes away, you are to call me on my handy so I will know, and I will go outside and I will wait. So Mr. Tokar arrived at 7 p.m. Mr. Tokar, very good to see you. How nice. While I waited for Mr. Cummings, it was more like, after midnight. Somewhere between 12:30 and 1 o'clock in the morning, my phone rang, finally, and a voice with a very heavy Pittsburgh accent said, "Yeah, this here's the driver. According to the GPS, I'm about 10 minutes out." I said, "Great, we'll see you here." So I stood outside. Someone said, "Kage, you should smile." I said, "Okay." About 30 minutes went by, and I was getting worried. And the phone rang again. I said, "Yeah, I think they gave me the wrong address." I said, "Dude, it's the convention center. You can't miss it. It's the giant building. There's only one. It's sitting right on the river. Drive until your front tires are wet. You'll see it." By the way, there were people standing there who heard this conversation. They'll tell you that's exactly how it is. He said, "What's the address again?" The street address for your GPS is 1000 Penn Avenue. He said, "Oh yeah, here's the problem. They gave me the wrong postal code." I said, "Where the hell are you?" He said, "Yeah, I'm in Wilkinsburg." Now that's funny enough, but even funnier if you're from Pittsburgh, because you would know that 1000 Penn Avenue in Wilkinsburg is a burned out crack house in the middle of the ghetto. If you don't believe me, look it up on Google Maps. Now, what I did not know at the time, I learned this later, was that Mr. Cummings, because it was so late at night, had fallen asleep in the back of the limousine. And he woke up to find that the limousine was parked under an iron bridge. And he tapped on the window. And the driver was saying, "This can't be right. This ain't the Westin. They're not fooling me." And Jim said, "What's going on?" And the driver said, "This ain't the Westin." And Jim said, "What gave it away?" And the guy said, "Maybe I'll be able to see it." And Jim said, "Well, try looking behind the winos. Maybe it's there." So that's when the guy called me, and I told him the right postal code. But then I also did not know that the driver did not know how to use the GPS. He couldn't figure out how to program in the address. Mr. Cummings took the GPS and from the back of the limousine said, "All right, you're going to make a left turn at the next traffic light." Yeah, I got it. "Which way am I going again?" approximately 2 o'clock in the morning, a very, very large 10-passenger stretch limousine, which is what I request, came in to the front of the Westin. Those of you who have not been there, it's a circular drive with a sort of concrete island in the middle. The limousine came around, bumped its wheels up on the inside curb, and then came back around, bam, back down flat. Big Blue Fox has a video of this arrival. And you see, it sounded like the door hit the wall and boom, bam! And then you hear a very familiar voice say, "Motherfucker!" Go ahead, laugh at my pain. The driver got out of the car. Driver, not chauffeur. He was dressed in a short-sleeved, wrinkled, gray shirt with armpit stains, not buttoned any more than down to here, all his chest hair hanging out. And he got out of the limousine. I did not look at him, but my assistant says that when he got out of the limousine, he stood up and said, "Eh." I was concentrating on my guest of honor, so I stepped forward and I opened the door of the limousine. And there was Jim Cummings, staring hypnotized at the electrical panel, which was swinging from a wire. Mr. Cummings, I'm Sam Conway. I'm your host this week. And I'm so sorry! He was very gracious. He got out of the vehicle, and he smiled and he said, "Can I go to my room?" Let me show you this. People say to me, "Oh, I want to start a furry commission." No. No, you don't. You want other people to start a furry convention. Trust me. Someone's having fun at these. What else happened this year? Oh, I was we have some restaurants and bars across the street from the hotel, and I had been convinced to go across the street and have something that looked like dinner. Remember the 621 rule that does not apply to the chairman, whose food simply will not stay down. Alcohol will. I was sitting, finally, some quiet moments, looking out at the beautiful hotel, which was lit up by the flashing red lights of the fire trucks. Excuse me. And I went across the street, and I walked past the fire trucks, walked past the firemen in all of their gear, going inside, and Big Blue Fox did not film this, but somebody else said that they heard me shout, "Who the fuck set my hotel on fire?" That's not so bad. That is not so bad. What is bad is that the elevators have a safety mechanism. When the fire alarm goes off, they all go to the ground floor and don't move. Sort of like this hotel.
These elevators, they make me happy in my pants. I was standing in front of one, and Night Fox was there. I don't know. Hey, that one's broken. That one too.
After some time, I was taken to the service elevator, and the firemen were coming off of the elevator, and I apologized to them as they went by, and they said, "Eh." I think that's a Pittsburgh thing. And I was told what had happened. A smoke detector had been activated on the 9th floor outside of the elevator lobby by someone with an electronic cigarette. After we had warned them that the smoke detectors detect particles in the air, and you must not smoke your electronic cigarettes inside the hotel. I know this because there were some people in the elevator lobby with him who said to him, "You should not smoke that here." At which point he went, Now, I got this information from, 3rd, 4th degree sources because I rode up in the service elevator and I wanted this man. And I was doing this in the elevator. It was like, please let him still be there. I want to. I got out of the service elevator and I ran to the elevator lobby and there was no one there. Did you see him? What did he look like? Would you recognize me if you saw him again? Is it him? Is it him? I couldn't find him. But at this point, I was like the sword of a samurai that once drawn must taste blood. So I took the stairs and I started to stalk through the halls, looking for someone to do something that I could yell at them for. I went up and down the halls, the 10th floor, the 11th floor, and the 12th, all the way to the 15th floor, and I heard a loud party. And inside the party I heard, "Hey, somebody fucking knock at the door." Jesus Christ!
If I was just standing like this. And the door slowly. I saw 10, 12 people. The man who opened the door said, "Hi, Kage." And I just said,
That helped a little bit. And I went up to the 16th floor, and then the 17th floor. I was walking with Talon, one of my logistics crew. He can tell you this story is true. As he was following me, I think to make sure I didn't kill anyone. I was on the 17th floor, and I walked around the corner. If you've been to the West End, it's shaped like an L, the left wall. And I stopped. And And someone had placed a sign on the door, and they had used duct tape to attach it to the door. The sword got its blood. I felt better. There are some people who say, Uncle Kage is a real big asshole because he treats people badly at Anthrocon. Yeah. I like to. It makes me feel good. No one here has the number to my cell phone. That's a good thing. Everyone knows you don't call me, period. You never call me unless there's an emergency or I'm expecting the call. This holds triple true at Anthrocon. Never call my cell phone at Anthrocon. Because typically, when the cell phone rings, the answer is, what? Well, Mr. Cummings, how are you? Delightful man, Mr. Cummings. Loved him all to pieces. The problem is that he is a professional. He's a Hollywood professional. The furry world is one in which we say to the guest, you're our guest. Come here, have fun. You know, your first panel will be at 11 tomorrow. Otherwise, enjoy yourself. The folks from Mr. Cummings' world are accustomed to having a handler, an assistant who takes them by the nose and leads them and says, okay, this is now you're going to this panel, now you will sign autographs here. Because when 11 o'clock came by, no one could find Mr. Cummings, who had apparently taken me very seriously when I said, go, have fun. He was off having fun somewhere. I don't think he was even in the hotel. Boy, am I actually going to be able to do an entire hour just on this year's Anthrocon? Probably. What else happened? See, I have a 1.2 megabyte hard drive in my brain. That is all that's allocated to memory. So I can only remember certain things, usually important things. Things like, oh, the guests staring at hanging panels. So that there are probably so many other things that happen that I didn't know about. Sometimes things don't happen at the convention. Sometimes they happen before the convention. And you find out about them at the convention. Little things like Anthrocon has what we call the zoo. It's a large room, social gathering place. And we had always had it in a ballroom in the hotel. Very nice, chandeliers and everything. The problem is we keep growing. Tita's feeling this pain. Victims of our own success, just as Eurofurence is. And the zoo could no longer stay in this ballroom. We needed it for programming. Because a program such as this would need seats for 450 people. And we needed that ballroom. So we moved the zoo, which is like almost similar to the breakfast restaurant out here. That would be our zoo, and it would be running 24 hours a day. People just go and sit. We moved it to an exhibit hall in the convention center. The problem is the exhibit hall was not as nicely decorated as the ballroom. By which I mean it wasn't decorated at all. The bare concrete floor, stone pillars, and the ceiling with like the conduits and air handling things all showing. It looked rather like a parking garage, if you can imagine. But, okay, we will make the best of it. We'll put nice tables and chairs down there. And we did. I put in the order personally. I'm going to need 35 round banquet tables. I'm going to need 350 chairs. I will need this many things. The convention center does exactly what I tell them, and no more. I didn't find out until Sunday that I had ordered all these tables, but I had not requested the nice tablecloths for them. Now, if you look under this to look at the table, it's not pretty. People started to refer to this as the prison cafeteria. Which was not exactly what I had in mind. Note to self. Next year, number 1, order the goddamn tablecloths. And number 2, show the banquet order to someone else, like Giza. I don't know if you've seen Giza running around. He's another American, he's a bald-headed kid. He runs my operations. His favorite expression is, dude, check this out. So if you hear that, that's Giza. He would be very good at spotting something like this. Dude, check this out, there's no tablecloths. What else happened? What else didn't happen? The hotel did not catch fire. That's a good thing. We didn't have any major fist fights. It depends on your definition of major. To a convention of 200 people, 2 people fighting is a fist fight, right? To a convention of 6,000 people, you have to get up to 30 before you call it a fist fight. If it's only 28 people, it's just a disagreement. That was fortunately outside, on the sidewalk. And my security went running and I said, halt! Not our problem. The very second it spills over into this lobby, kill every one of them. But for right now, let them sort it out. Whoever is still standing at the end, bring him inside, I'll buy him a drink. What other things? We had no hurricane, that was good. There was no hurricane, at least not where we were. The hurricane had gone up the eastern coast of the United States and had hit the cities of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Newark, New Jersey very hard. Those, unfortunately, are the major airports where all of the flights go through. So I was getting all sorts of reports of people unable to make their connections. You know, VIPs, guests, staff members, things like that. And I was just getting so many. The first call I got was, oh my gosh, here, let me, I'll see if I can find you a hotel room there in Philadelphia. Anthracon will pay for it, don't worry. We'll put you up for the night, we'll get you out on the first flight in the morning. Yeah, Mr. Hotel Guy, can you arrange a hotel suite? Thank you very much. About the 16th or 17th phone call I got, it was like, yeah, cry me a river, okay? Actually, I think that's exactly what I said. Maybe I shouldn't talk about Anthracon so much. Maybe I should talk about other conventions like this one. Nah, it's not my place to talk about this convention. Cheats or Night Fox or... Oh, but we do have a member of their security staff here. I'm just saying. Anything you're authorized to disclose?
That's not the funny parts.
That's the problem. Usually the funniest parts you can't really talk about.
Or you have to wait at least 2 or 3 years until it's kind of less obvious who was involved in it.
But this is your 20th year. You should have 17 years. How long have you been on security staff?
This is my 4th year.
Ah, that's the problem. See, he's only just starting to be able to discuss the things he's been through. You're off the hook. An unnamed convention in the United States, which takes place in Chicago in the wintertime. It could be one of any. They had, and I very much felt for their chairman. I felt a lot of sympathy. Because we were a member of a very select fraternity of masochists. He was probably doing exactly what he, that moment when you want to sit down, things are quiet and there's no voice on the radio, you just want to sit down and maybe have a sip of wine or a little coffee. And then you see a shadow of a person. And you don't look up because you know what's waiting for you. It's sort of like when you're going to be executed by firing squad, they always put a blindfold on you. And I'm sure he said, yes, what is it? And it was a member of hotel security saying, could you come with me, please? Could you come with me, please? Now, I can imagine that chairman was doing this. Where are we going? Will there be blood? Apparently, the hotel had a very nice pool. And apparently, the pool had a very nice hot tub. You know, one of those swirly bubble tubs. And apparently, there were 2 young gentlemen in the tub who were enjoying one another's company. Hotel security was sent to stop this, and apparently they didn't. So they went and got the chairman. Now, had this been Anthrocon, the waters of the tub would have run red. But this was not Anthrocon, this was an unnamed in the central part of the United States in Chicago in the wintertime. Apparently it took the chairman standing over them and glowering and then finally throwing a bucket of ice water on them. Now, this is funny, but it does affect your relations with the hotel. You want to have good relationships with the hotel. Because, well, I mean, let's face it, if you're renting in a flat somewhere, you want to be friendly with the landlord so he won't throw you out, yes? And there are also advantages when you've got good relations with the hotel. Because you can sometimes flex your shoulders a little bit, just a little. Does, I can't remember, I've done this before. Did I tell the story of the year that Anthrocon shared its hotel with the New York Yankees baseball team? No. Okay. All right. U.S. Major League Baseball Association allows the visiting baseball team when there is a tournament going on, usually to stay in the Westin Hotel. It just happened that that year, Anthrocon was going on at the same time as a baseball tournament, and the New York Yankees were in town, and they were staying in the Westin. I thought, well, how fun. Now, my father would love it. He's a Yankees fan. Yeah, maybe he'll get to meet someone. And it was on Thursday night, the first real night of the convention, that things happened. I had not been aware that the New York Yankees are considered a primary target for terrorists. What are you going to do? Crash an airplane into one of them? He'll just bat it back at you. But, the New York Yankees, they are kind of a symbol of the heart of America. They're America's team, so they say. I'm from Philadelphia, so I don't think so. Apparently, their security director came into the hotel and saw. And according to the report I received, his response was, "The fuck is this? What the fuck? What's with that fuck? What's with the fucking thing on the fucking guy there? The fuck is this?" That's New York language for, "My, what a strange happening." What is that gentleman wearing? This is very unusual. My security chief. If you've been to Anthrocon, my security chief is I don't want to say a tiny man, he's vertically challenged. He's only about this tall. He's got a snow white beard and, you know, happy twink. He looks like a little Father Christmas. His name is René Gobin. Cajun name there. He came to me and he said, "Kage, apparently we have to clear everyone out of the lobby." What, are the floodwaters rising? What? Why? And he said, "The security for the Yankees is insisting that when the Yankees come through the lobby, there must not be anyone there because of security concerns." And he was standing with a member of the hotel management who was looking very uncomfortable and saying, "Can you do that?" And I said, "How?" Okay, you're asking me to go out and tell how many hundred furries you can't be here because someone else doesn't want you here. You honestly want me to do that? Okay, think. All right. We cannot tell them that. We have to go to plan B. All right, Renee, I want you to go through the lobby and just start telling everyone that Uncle Kage is in the upstairs ballroom, drunk off his ass and telling the stories the staff doesn't want him to tell. And he said, "You got it." And Giza was standing with me and he said, "Dude, check this out. What are you gonna do now?" I said, "Hey." So I got into the ballroom and I stood on a chair and I just started pounding it down and people started streaming in. Within about 2 minutes, the lobby was empty. And I kept it going, and finally when Renee came by and gave me a little wave, that was the signal, okay, it's done. I sort of confessed to everyone, okay, I kind of tricked you up here. Here's what happened. I apologize. I know it was a dirty trick, but this is what we've been asked to do, and we want to be good guests. So it's only for tonight. You're not going to have to do it again. And then I got off the chair and stumbled downstairs. Remember how I said that sometimes when I need to, I can become sober very quickly? I went downstairs to the hotel front desk and I said, "Hi, I'd like a word with the manager." In private. Now, I didn't yell. I did not yell. I stayed very professional. We went back and I smiled and I said, "Okay, I did this tonight for you because you asked me to. And I was happy to do it. I'm not going to do it again. That's my lobby. Those are my people. They paid for it. They're staying." And I understood, okay. I said, "Good." And I went out and I told Renee, work with the Yankee security. If there's a problem, tell them that you'll assist them, but that we very respectfully decline the invitation to clear out the lobby because these are paying hotel guests. And the next evening, apparently the the Yankee security came in, their security chief, and looked around and said, "The fuck? The fuck these people still doing here? They're supposed to be fucking out of here. The fuck?" Which translated is, "Goodness, why are these people still here? Shouldn't they have gone by now? How odd." So he went up to Renee and said, "The fuck?" And Renee said, "I'm sorry, these are paying hotel guests. My crew is willing to help. We're standing by. We know these people. We'll make an alley for you for the Yankees to go through." And this guy started getting very New York on Renee. "The fuck you say, little man? The fuck? You're telling me these fucking people ain't going nowhere? Now you listen to me, shorty. These fucking people are getting out of here or else I'm gonna fuck you up." Translation is, "I disagree, sir." "Would you kindly ask them to move as I have requested?" And Renee once again said, "I'm not going to do that. This is their hotel. We'll work with you, but we're not going to clear the lobby." And the guy said, "No, I used to be a cop." Which translated is, "I used to be a police officer." And Renee said, "Oh, okay. United States Army Airborne Ranger." Which translates to, "It's fucking on now." This is why this happy, jolly little Father Christmas man is my security. I also only recently discovered Renee did 3 tours of duty in Vietnam in the 60s and 70s. I never asked him what he did for a living after that, before he took the job he has now. Apparently he was I think today they call him an independent defense contractor. I got a good security chief. I have to be careful of what I say around him, because I've been known to just like, "Here, I want this guy to disappear," and Renee says, "No." outside of our convention center, the Allegheny River flows. And every year, it gets just a little less deep. Strangely enough, that was the last year that Major League Baseball put their teams into our hotel. We don't know why. Coincidence, maybe? Previous years was kind of interesting because every year that the baseball team was in the hotel with Anthrocon, the home team, the Pittsburgh Pirates, would win. The Milwaukee team, the Brewers, their official spokesperson officially blamed Anthrocon for the loss. Saying, these people were up all night howling, the guys didn't get any sleep. It was probably true. What other fun things have happened at conventions? So many of you have probably heard of a recent debacle called DashCon. Okay, who has not heard of DashCon? Oh goodness. DashCon was a bunch of folks who wanted to run essentially a Tumblr convention, a convention for Tumblr users. Again, they meant well, but they really had no idea what they were doing. Their programming consisted of 1 or 2 people in a room just kind of making noise, and the entertainment consisted of one of those inflatable bouncy houses and a ball pit. A child's little swimming pool inflated, filled with little plastic balls that you would sit in, I guess. Wow. They didn't do very well with their finances because the very first night of the convention, when the hotel came to them and said, you know, you guys kind of got to pay us for all this, the announcement went out that they needed $17,000 and they needed it right now. And they basically extorted money out of their people. And their guests, when they showed up, were told they would have to pay for their own rooms, for their own meals, they would have to pay for their own transportation, and their own security. So they basically turned around and left. It was a nightmare all around, but it gave us a new phrase in the convention lexicon. Because they actually announced, out of the camera hand, anyone who is willing to donate X amount of money will get an extra hour in the ball pit. If you've seen that going around, that's what it's all about. There have been incidents at furry conventions, and again, I'm never 100% sure to what extent their chairman talked about. The problem is I'm on very, very good terms with most of the chairmen. It's the others I want to talk about. No, that's not true. The furry conventions do tend to work very, very well together, and I'm certain that they tell stories about me at their cons. Of course, I never saw any video of that. I'm a little short on time. Anyone have any questions? Yes.
What happened with the Yankees after the incident you last told us?
They lost. They lost to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I mean, the security, was there any other...
Oh no, actually, I should have followed it up. You might say that there was a compromise of a sort between Mr. The Fuck and Renee. The furries stayed in the lobby. When the Yankees wanted to leave to go to the baseball game, they had to come through the service elevator and go through the kitchen. And I think I know exactly what their security chief said when he got that. The phrase, by the way, the fuck, that the direct translation of that is, what? We don't allow dogs at Africa. I mean, not the four-legged variety. I can talk about this because I saw it happen. We don't allow dogs because of a specific incident here at Eurofurence, back at the Ringberg house. Everything went very, very well that year, at least as far as I could see. And until two of the dogs had a bit of a disagreement. One of the dogs went up to another and said, "The fuck!" Oh, that was you. I thought you looked familiar. A certain security gentleman attempted to intervene in the disagreement and became part of the argument. Or rather, a part of him became a part of the argument. One of the dogs decided to sign his signature on the gentleman's hand. No, you may not bring dogs to Africa. With the exception of service dogs for people with certain disabilities. The only problem with that is, whereas most people in the world are decent and honest, there are always the people who are not. There are always the people who will drag along this moth-eaten rabid thing and say, "Oh, it's a service dog." There was a particular young lady, a substantial young lady, very substantial young lady, brought along this little yappy thing. It wasn't actually a dog. I think it was more a member of the pillow family. This ill-behaved, she'd made a little, like vest for it that said, "Service dog." Anyone could do that. And the problem is the law prohibits me from challenging that claim. So she's dragging this thing around. And see, anybody who knows dogs knows their body language. This dog spent the entire con being dragged like this, with the leash as tight as it could possibly be. And I watched her go tumbling by, dragging this thing along. It wasn't even walking, it had its feet like this, like that. And I said to the gentleman with me, "The fuck?" I said, "You telling me that's a service dog? I mean, look, the thing is, apparently it's terrified of her." And he said, "Well, I can see why. It's afraid that any minute it's going to disappear, accompanied by the sound of no, no, no." It's that same man who coined a term, and maybe it's an unkind term, but I like it. It was not necessarily in relation to this particular young lady, but we were talking about obesity. There is an overweight person. There is overweight. There is obese. There is morbidly obese. And then there's Melty Eat Beast. I like that. She was a Melty Eat Beast. I have 5 minutes to go, but I haven't finished my coffee. It's working, German coffee. Let's see, I'm mentally going through some of the conventions. Still out of bed. Another convention in the Chicago area in the wintertime. Similar to the first one. They had a problem with a particular attendee who thought that it was funny to activate the fire alarm at night. The problem is that the fire alarm is activated, you must evacuate the hotel, even if it is minus 15 degrees outside and snowing. Any other convention, this would be a catastrophe. At this particular convention, where a third of the people were in fursuit, it just turned into a gigantic cuddle pile out in Because I went out and I saw it. Basically, you would have 2 or 3 fursuiters with 8 or 9 people just kind of surrounding Preston on them here, and it was really nice. But when the fire department came, I could see the firemen. They're not looking at the hotel. They're going by like that. And through the window, I saw the chief go. By the way, they caught that fellow, and they charged him criminally. There's a certain satisfaction in, oh, silly me! How could I forget? But something else from Africa. About 2 weeks before the convention, someone somewhere in the United States posted on Facebook that he had a certain number of assault rifles and bomb-making skills, and he was going to take all of the above to Africa. Now, even 6 years ago, we would have said, yeah, bite me. Problem is, in today's modern American society, we cannot simply dismiss something like that, because we've had far too many instances where people have said that and then done it. So I was looking at this and I felt that vein start throbbing. Are you pointing at the ceiling? Is there a spider up there?
I have a question.
What?
A question.
Oh yes, what?
You told during one of your live streams at some point we met you and you would tell about that time when Africa nearly got sued.
I'll get to that. Let me finish this one. Where was it? Oh yes! Oh yes! So, I had to contact the authorities. And, oh boy. The problem is the story didn't quite rise to the level that I can even make it funny. The story is just pitiful. Because I had to hire extra security, $1,500 worth of additional security. We had to have the FBI involved. We had to have Pittsburgh police involved. It was a lot of extra work. And at the convention, I kept thinking, after all this work, but he didn't. Of course, you know how some furries can be. Oh, the panic. Oh my God, this guy's going to come to the convention. He's going to shoot me. He's going to shoot me in the face. No, I will if you don't shut up. So he didn't show up. The FBI investigated, and what they discovered was that this guy is both number one, homeless, number two, broke, and number three, somewhat mentally not all there. He is well known to his local authorities. So I said, what can we do to him? So they said, not really anything. He's harmless. He's just making noise. He doesn't have any weapons. And he doesn't have any money, so you can't even sue him to recoup the cost of all the security. And I sat down with Renee, and I said, this pains me. I said, what am I going to do about the guy? And Renee said, next year, make him guest of honor. I said, the fuck? Why? He said, because then he'll be here. It's been taken under consideration. So, I know this was perhaps scheduled for an hour and a half. Problem is, I plumb forgot about it. I have some work I need to do in my room. You know, actual work. So I can't go too much longer. And the gentleman asked, I had mentioned in a wine stream about Amphicon getting sued at one point. Of course, during those wine streams, I'm usually so completely drunk I don't remember my own name. We regret that such an incident may have happened. And that's what I said to her. But she didn't accept it. She kept pushing and she kept pushing. And, well, she got a lawyer involved. I got lawyers too. So, it went all the way through the court system. The thing is, she wasn't very good at getting her story straight. First off, I had said to her, can you describe the man? And she said it was a black gentleman who was wearing a Dorsai beret. The Dorsai regulars in my security wear black berets. And, okay. There's only two of them who were at the convention who matched that description. One of them was off-site at the time, escorting the guest of honor to a nearby restaurant. The other one had recently joined the Dorsai and had not been issued a black beret. So it's like, sorry lady, I'm totally out of black people. It's just, I'm spent. I've got no more to give. 2 years later, when this got to the courts, her story had been adjusted somewhat. Well, she said, now I remember, it was not a beret, it was his hair. I mistook his hair for a beret. All right. Okay. That's a perfectly rational explanation. The problem is, the gentleman who had not been issued the beret has no hair. He's as bald as an egg. I'm out of bald black people. She then, later on, went to describe that she had gone to the Dorsai the following day to complain. This was news to me. I never heard this. And she talked to them and she pointed out, that's the man there. Well, the Dorsai always keep very detailed logs of things that are brought to their attention. And I was able to produce that log. And that log said, this lady did come to talk to us. She pointed to the one gentleman who it could have been, and she said, no, that's not him. And her explanation was, that's because he was sitting down when I saw him. And I didn't recognize him when he was sitting down, but later, when I saw him standing up, I recognized him. And we went back to the log and said, you know, The complainant pointed to James, who was standing beside the door. Was he standing or sitting? Is that a hint? This is how it was going to go. This was all in the preliminaries. It was getting just to the point that we were going to go to the trial, and my lawyer was just salivating. He wanted to get, he said, this is going to be fun. Because she can't get her story straight. She cannot even remember anything. She apparently has been going from doctor to doctor to get pain pills for this horrible condition that she has been caused. And she continually refers to this gentleman as a colored man, which is not considered very polite in America. And this particular trial was going to take place in Philadelphia, where 70% of the people are meeting that description. So the lawyer's like, she was badly injured. Oh, so horribly, she couldn't move her neck. She was... Somebody pointed me to her live journal. Remember live journal? Where some months after Empicon, she was complaining about how she had to help a friend move and wrestle this heavy dresser drawer down the stairs, and how the thing was like smashing her fingers against the wall, and oh, my back is killing me from that. I sent an email to the lawyer with a transcript of this. About 10 minutes later, the lawyer called me up. He was panting. I think I heard him jerking off. He said, where'd you get this? I said, it's online. He said, is it available to the public? Can anyone see it? I said, yeah, it's right here at this address. He went, oh, this is going to be fun. The day before the trial, he called me up, crying, sobbing pitifully. And I said, what's wrong? He said, I just got a fax from a hotel in New Jersey where this woman claims that one of their security people had bumped into her going down the stairs and it caused her permanent injury last week. I said, what's this mean? He said, it means that it establishes a pattern of her lying. I said, so isn't that good? He said, no. I called her lawyer, and he said, uh-oh, forget the whole thing. You win some, you lose some. I was kind of looking forward to that. All right, I do have to get to work. I thank you all. I'm sorry if I was late or not, wow. But, again, on behalf of Eurofurence, I want to thank you all for your support. Everyone with the purple ribbons here, super sponsor. We totally love you to pieces, and I'm very, very pleased I was able to do this for at least some tiny reward for what you have done to make this convention successful. So I do thank you on behalf of Eurofurence TV.